What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachel Kennedy, and this is Living the Denver Boulder Lifestyle. Today, I am going to be going over what it's like to live in Boulder, Colorado. I'm going to take you on a tour through Boulder and talk to you about all the nuances that come with being a Boulder resident. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you that I am a licensed broker in the state of Colorado, so as much as I love putting this content together for you to help you decide what the best place to land in Colorado is, I would love even more to help you with those real estate needs. So feel free to hit me up on that number or that email that is popping up below, and let's get started. All right, everybody, before we get started on what it's like to live in Boulder, Colorado, please do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button so that you get notified every time I put out new videos, which is every Thursday. Without further ado, let's get started on what it's like to live in Boulder. All right, so Boulder, Colorado is a very unique place, and I honestly love Boulder. If I could afford to live in Boulder, I would. But Boulder County is actually one of the most expensive counties in the state of Colorado. We do have a handful of very expensive counties that include Pitkin County and San Miguel County, which house Aspen and Telluride. So those are kind of anomalies, but when we talk about the counties that are near and around Denver, and Boulder County is definitely one of the higher dollar counties. There's definitely a reason why people are drawn to Boulder and why they're willing to pay a pretty penny to live in the city and county of Boulder. So let's talk about some of the different things to keep in mind or consider if you are thinking about moving into either the county of Boulder, which houses a few different cities, or the city of Boulder itself. Boulder County does include parts of Broomfield, Colorado, Superior, Louisville, Lafayette, and Boulder itself. I want to say that I do believe Niwot falls into Boulder County as well. If you are looking in Boulder County, you may not end up in the exact city of Boulder. But for purposes of this video, I'm actually going to be talking about the actual city limits of Boulder. So when considering moving to Boulder, know that Boulder is relatively small. It's only 27 square miles and only has a population of 104,000 people. So relative to Denver, which is over 3 million people, it is very small. They keep it that way. They have a moratorium that does prevent for the city and county of growing. There is not a lot of new development, not a lot of new builds, and with hindering the building of new homes and new residences, that does tend to drive the price of homes up. So when moving to Boulder, you'll have two options to choose from in terms of the lifestyle or the feel that you are moving into. You can either choose to live closer to the city, the downtown city center of Boulder, and you'll find both older neighborhoods with, 1970s, 1950s built smaller ranches, all the way into planned unit developments with big, what we call McMansions. You'll find the tract homes. They all look very similar. They all share a very similar floor plan. There's probably an HOA associated there. And then you also have the option of moving up into the hills of Boulder, and that's going to be up through Boulder Canyon, and that's going to be very much mountain living. So to compare the two, I highly recommend checking out the other two videos that I made. That is, what does $800,000 buy you in Boulder, and what does $1.2 million buy you in Boulder? Two completely different products that we toured in those videos. I think you'll find it really informative to understand just how far your dollar goes in the city and county of Boulder. But again, understand that living very close to the city of Boulder is going to get you less house, but your trade-off there is that you are buying really for location. Now, you can go a little bit further out from the city, still be within the city of Boulder, still be in Boulder County, have Boulder County schools, but be a little bit set apart, and you'll get a little bit more house for your money in that case. A lot of people are drawn to the city of Boulder because it is such a culturally accepting community. You'll have all walks of life, from tech startup CEOs to yoga teachers to writers to professors. It's a really, really eclectic community, and that's part of the magic of Boulder. So let's talk about the topic of schools. Boulder County, as I've mentioned many times before, is one of the top school districts in the state of Colorado very consistently. Cherry Creek School District is another top one, but Boulder County is actually the number one district in the state. Boulder County itself has 125 schools to choose from, with 93 of those schools being private schools. So those are going to range from anywhere from private, pre-K, preschool schools, all the way up to private high schools. You'll be able to find an array of curriculum from Montessori to day schools to performing arts schools. So if you have kiddos that have a very specific niche or focus that they'd like to take with their education, Boulder is almost guaranteed to have an option for them. Residents of Boulder love their outdoor activities. I think that that's probably one of the things that brings all of the eclectic people of Boulder together is their love for being outdoors. You'll find outdoor activities from mountain biking, hiking, bouldering. Boulder does have its own reservoir where you can swim in the reservoir, you can paddleboard, kayak, you can even bring power boats onto the reservoir. And in case you're coming from a state that has a ton of water, we don't have a ton of water here in Colorado. So for us to have a reservoir within the city that does allow for power boats is kind of special. They are not plentiful. So that's another big draw to Boulder, is that they have both the mountains right there, literally right outside your back door, but you also have water sport activity as well. There is the river that runs through the city of Boulder, and the college students, families love to tube down the river. I will say tuber beware, because a lot of times the river will be rushing. It'll be really intense. So make sure that you do your research. Do not hop into a tube on that river without knowing what you're doing. Now, Boulder is a college town. The University of Colorado main campus is in the city and county of Boulder. It is one of the city's biggest employers and biggest economic drivers. So the city of Boulder loves the university, loves their college students because it drives their economy, but there are also the nuances that come along with living in a college town. You're going to have an area of the city that has a lot of fraternities, a lot of sororities. You'll see a lot of college kids out on Friday and Saturday night partying it up. If you live on the hill, which is kind of like the area of Denver that a lot of the kids party at and where a lot of the fraternities and the sororities are located, you may need to watch for throw up on the sidewalk as you're walking to breakfast. Love it or hate it, a college town can add a lot of life to the city, and Boulder does really love their college kids. And Boulder does have one of Colorado's best farmers markets. They run the farmers market from April to November, and they have one farmers market on Wednesdays from 4 to 8 p.m. And then they have another farmers market every week on Saturdays from 8 to 2 p.m. So this is one of the best farmers markets. There are so many really great vendors, from homemade soaps to homegrown vegetables. If you love a farmers market, I guarantee you will be very impressed with Boulder's farmers market. So those are just some of the nuances to keep in mind and consider and know about if you are considering moving into Boulder. But before I wrap up, I want to take you on a tour of the city of Boulder. It's a really, really special place. If you're considering moving out here to Colorado, Boulder may very well be the spot that catches your heart because it is pretty cool. So let's go take a look.